Welcome back to another Planetside 2 testing video. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so let's get straight to it. Today we're going to be taking a look at smoke, and there are three different types of smoke. There are smoke grenades, there are smoke launchers, and then there's IR smoke. We'll mainly be focusing on the first two types of smoke because IR smoke has a different purpose than the other two, but we'll cover it shortly at the end nonetheless. Let's start with smoke grenades. Smoke grenades are a light assault exclusive consumable grenade that you can purchase for 25 infantry resources that when thrown will create a large smoke cloud that will blind your enemies. They have quite a few drawbacks, however. They don't detonate instantly and they tend to bounce around a lot, which can make it difficult to hit your intended target. And the purchase also costs 200 certs initially to get the smoke grenades, which some people might not be willing to shell out for something that has such a limited use. Then we have the underbarrel smoke launcher. This can be used by light assaults, combat medics, and engineers, assuming you have the Track 5S or the T1S cycler. Unlike smoke grenades, the smoke launcher costs 100 certs and comes with double the amount of grenades per life. These can also sometimes be reacquired by using an engineer's ammo pack, but this is a buggy function and I'm not even sure if it's actually the intended feature or not. The smoke launcher can also be used as a weapon. It does minor damage to vehicles, which can finish them off in a pinch, and it also does extreme damage to infantry. It does about the same amount of damage as a knife, which means 2 shots and they're dead. So we've taken a look at these two types of smoke, so let's see if there's any differences between the smoke that comes out of the grenades. Looking at the two of them side by side, they both appear to last for the same amount of time, though the smoke grenades appeared to have a slightly wider cloud, while the smoke launcher had a taller one. In the end, they both had the same duration, and the smoke clouds were basically the same size, so I'd say they're about equal in this regard. The smoke grenades are better for breaching doors, considering they can be bounced off the doorways, so you can preemptively attack a building without exposing yourself to the enemy. But in basically every other way, the smoke launcher beats it in usefulness due to its lower cost and higher ammunition count. So now we know the differences between each of the two smoke launchers, but now let's take a look at the weaknesses that smoke has itself. Smoke doesn't work very well on things like terminals, flags, and shields, so if you use those and stand in front of them, the enemy will still be able to see you, and they will still be able to shoot you easily. And naturally, if your enemy has a night vision scope or any of those other types of scopes on vehicles or infantry, they will be able to see through it as if it was not there, and that will not work at all. You will, however, be quite safe if the enemy decides to use a flashlight, as it cannot see through the smoke, and it is still probably the most useless cert in the game at the current moment. One worry I have heard some people express is that in lower settings the smoke might not be as big, and therefore players who play on lower settings will be able to see through it more easily, therefore making it less effective. I've tested this, and even on testing low, medium, and high, it all appears to be about the same. In fact, looking at the footage, I can't even remember which of the three was low, medium, or high. It just looks the same to me, which might be a bad thing, but just look at it. It's not that different. I did get a suggestion in my last testing video that I should show what loadouts I'm using so I can better explain ways to use the item effectively. So I'm going to do that real quick before I wrap up with the IR smoke. Since I'm a combat medic, the weapon I use is the T1S cycler. I use an HSNV scope, a suppressor, and of course the smoke launcher. I used to use high velocity ammo, but then since I put on the suppressor, I don't think it's necessary to use it while I have the suppressor on, so I take that out when I'm using the suppressor. After using the smoke, the HSNV scope lets me easily see my targets, and the suppressor lets me fire without people knowing where I am, which makes it easy for me to hide and gives me a good way to take down a lot of enemies without exposing myself too much. It also provides excellent cover for charging up to enemy infantry or armor, and it is actually my favorite way to engage enemy tanks as an infantry, as it lets me sneak up behind them with C4, plant it in the back, and then go boom. And in this example, it would have worked if I had actually remembered my C4, which I didn't. But I still killed him. And now let's cover IR Smoke really quickly. IR Smoke is a certification for vehicles that lets you avoid lock-ons and can temporarily blind the enemy, except the smoke from IR Smoke doesn't last very long, so it isn't suggested to be used for cover, and you should use it for what it says to do on the box. So for this test, I heartily recommend the item. Smoke is a wonderful addition to your arsenal, and it can be used in many different ways to effectively help your allies or deter your enemies, but it is rather expensive and only 3 classes can use it, so unless support is your thing, you're probably better off using something else, but again, great item.